the FBI is seeking more information about the gunman. It posted this notice on its website seeking information. Joining us now on the phone from Fort Worth, Texas, is Kevin McDaniel, who was friends with Alexis before he moved to Washington. Mr. McDaniel, thank you for taking a few minutes with us. I do appreciate it. I understand that you knew Aaron Alexis for just a couple years, maybe 3 years. What kind of guy did you know him to be?
Oh, he was just a gentle, nice guy, toothy smile, wave at you, say hello, talk with you if you had something to say or whatever. Just as nice and polite of a man as could be.
And did you ever see any glimpses of a temper?
None whatsoever. I mean, I brought up remarks that would possibly make someone mad who didn't agree with me, and with the economics today, and with the Benghazi and 9/11, things like that. I would bring things up like that, ranting about it, and I'm not up there shooting people, and he would just, carry on a conversation about it and agree with this and say something about that, but nothing out of the ordinary.
So you didn't hear him express any frustration or anger toward the government, toward the military in any way?
None whatsoever. I thought he was still a reservist. I didn't know that he had been booted from the reserves.
Tell us about the last time that you saw him and was with him.
Well, he was in a hurry. He said he had a job that he had to go to up in D.C., and he was catching a flight the next day, and he didn't want to pay for storage for his furniture. I have a little furniture store, and I have a separate used area for used furniture, and he wanted to know if I wanted to buy his old stuff so he wouldn't have to pay for a rental place until he got back.
And when you heard of this story, of course, this broke in the news, it was a shock to everyone, but when you learned that the shooter was in fact your friend, Aaron Alexis, what did you think? What was your reaction?
It took my knees out from underneath me. My stomach flipped. I was at the bank earlier that day doing a transaction, and one of the tellers told me that the guy was from Fort Worth. And, Fort Worth's a big town, but, I hate to hear that because we still have hometown values in Fort Worth. And then I get to my store, and a customer is in talking with my salesperson and says that it was Aaron from next door. And I thought I was going to, hit the floor. It was just, I had to sit down. My stomach flopped, and it just made me sick to my stomach because I couldn't imagine him doing anything like this.
And let me ask you this question. Of course, he had a bit of a run-in with the law while he lived there in Fort Worth. His firearm discharged, and the police were called. Were you aware of that?
None whatsoever. No, I didn't know about that until it broke on the news yesterday.
And did he seem mentally unstable, unable to regulate his emotions in any way to you?
Absolutely not, as far as I could tell. Like I say, if you want to compare, emotions, emotional state, one person to another, I was a bit more emotional about things than it seemed he was.
Yeah, it seems incredible. Very often 2020 is hindsight, Mr. McDaniel.
Yes,
and now that you're looking back, is there anything that you could think of that might have been a clue that something like this was to come?
Absolutely nothing.
And you said you were impressed with him. He was able to speak more than just English?
He taught himself Thai and was able to speak it with the people at the restaurant next door where he was friends with the owner, and he helped them out here and there with deliveries, and he would bring me a tray of food. We'd sit and talk for a few minutes. He'd go back to work. I'd chastise him about smoking cigarettes, and he'd laugh it off, and he said he's going to quit tomorrow, and I'd catch him the next day smoking a cigarette, and I said, man, tomorrow's never going to come. You got to quit. And he'd just laugh about it, big toothy smile, and just as nice of a guy as could be. And if he needed a place for Thanksgiving or Christmas to go, I would have invited him home for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Wow, it is so perplexing. Mr. Kevin McDaniel, thank you very much for your time and for sharing your story.
You're very welcome.